You watch, the builders outside are going to ruin this intro. Recently, I've felt a little bit off balance going through a major life change and upheaval, and it's been difficult for the last 2 months to recenter, rebalance, and start to move on. It takes some time sometimes to get out of that rut that you're in. These are 3 things that I've been implementing to help address that. When life gets a little bit mental, when things don't go the way you planned and you start to feel a little bit like you're in a mental setback, these are 3 things that I've started implementing again to help me navigate those days and help me to process things properly. These are all fairly simple things to do, but just because they're simple, it doesn't mean that they're easy to implement. So if you're thinking about trying to bring things like this back in and implement new habits, don't force yourself and don't overly stress when you miss a day. Little things like that, little steps, little changes are going to help make sure that these things stick. So let's get into the video. Let's go through those 3 habits and a little bit of training as well.
So the first habit, before we get into training later on, is steps or getting a walk in. I got in a really bad habit of waking up in the morning, checking my phone, waiting for a message or some sort of notification that I've been after, and then rotting for like 90 minutes just scrolling on TikTok. So one of the things I've been really forcing myself to do is getting up and getting outside first thing. Just means I can clear my head and get some steps in, get some movement in, and yeah, just not sit in my bed ruminating and letting whatever is going on inside my head just go through a cycle every morning. So it's just a much better way to start, and lucky for me, I'm in an area where there's plenty of places that you can go for a walk, you can take the dog. So it's just been the first thing to try and implement to try and give my morning that structure, which is going to help me feel better. Come on, let's go. Come on.
Okay, back from getting some steps in, so now looking at doing some work. But before then, the next 2 kind of habits that we're trying to bring in play, going through a period like I have been where I've basically been living meal to meal, haven't had like a plan for the day or the week, and not been structuring things around training, so not getting carbs in when I should be. That's been really negatively impacting what I am doing in training. So a big thing has been putting a focus back on that, being prepared with meals, being prepared with what I'm eating throughout the day, and making sure that I'm getting carbs in before I train so that I've got energy to actually push a little bit. Even if I don't feel 100% connected to what I am doing in training, I need to have the fuel to push it when I can. And then the third one is, we'll call it journaling, but reflecting. Now, I don't journal every single day, but it's become a tool that when I'm feeling overwhelmed, when I've got a lot going on and I need to put things down on paper, it gives me the space to do that and to process. Now, these are the prompts that I've used to help go through whatever is going on. Now, you don't have to use these prompts, but I suggest using 1 or 2 that kind of relate to whatever you're in to help process and understand exactly what's going on, so that when you do write those answers, you are thinking them through in your head, and you're providing yourself with some actionable steps or some actual realistic feelings about what's going on in your head. So those are the 3 big things that I've been trying to tick off and focus on. They're not easy. The nutrition I do find easy, but the other 2 take a little bit of practice and getting into routine and getting into a rhythm. So that will continue to build over the coming weeks, months, days. Did that in terrible order. Days, weeks, months. So it's just building, and getting practice with all of these. So we're gonna do a little bit of work now. We've got a little bit of online client work to do, and then we're gonna head off to the gym. We've got some snatch work. There's some other bits in there as well, but I'll fill you in with more detail on what we're gonna do there. But kicking things off, those are the 3 big habits that I've been implementing to help refocus, recenter, and move on from the shit show that we're in.
Right, I'd actually recorded this once already and the audio didn't work. So take 2. Just about to go in and train. We've got 2/3 main parts to this. We've got a weightlifting piece, which is split into 2 parts, and then we've got our conditioning / gymnastics interference, This is all geared towards competing. So got 4 weeks until we go to Marbella. So the lifting is about lifting in a complex and moving through a few different pieces. Then a little bit of barbell efficiency and endurance. And then we're going to the gymnastics piece to test the shoulders under fatigue and work our way through those. So start on the lifting and then we're going into the gymnastics interference piece. It had to happen at some point. I got away with it ever since I've been back from Abu Dhabi. Haven't really had any rain, but now September is here, and with it, my seasonal depression.
All right, so we're going to voice over today's workout because I didn't manage to get any great shots. So we'll just go through and take it piece by piece. The first part was weightlifting, and we're focusing on moving in a complex. So we had one power snatch, one snatch balance into an overhead squat. Snatch is something that has definitely dropped off over the last few months. Just my strength isn't there. So with losing so much weight and not training consistently, not squatting consistently, it's definitely something that is starting to affect me, affect my numbers and everything like that. But it will come back. It's just going to take a bit of work. But using complexes in preparation for Marbella, it's something that is likely to appear, something that means you need to move the bar in different ways. So just prepping for that one. Managed to build up to 80 kilos. The second one then is barbell endurance. So we're looking at moving the bar under a little bit of fatigue and for multiple reps. So we had hang power cleans. We did 3 sets, 6, 4, 2 with a 30-second rest in between. So this was 70 kilos, which is around 60% of my 1RM. So if you want to give this one a go, that's the kind of rough guideline I'd use. You can always go a little bit heavier if you really want to push and challenge yourself. But by the third set, those rests were very much needed. The bar was moving quite well, but I was definitely feeling fatigued. So that's something I definitely need to be focusing on as we head into Marbella. The final piece today was gymnastics. So we had 3 rounds, starting off on the ski, not going max out, but we want to aim at like 80% of my capacity, moving into dual dumbbell hang snatch to provide some shoulder fatigue, and then kicking up to the wall and going for strict handstand push-ups. We're going for AMRAP minus 1 rep. So go as many as you can, but leave 1 rep in the tank. If we need to, you can swap these out for kipping handstand push-ups.
Okay, so those are the 3 habits, and I guess you could also include training and moving my body as a 4th habit. That's something that also really helps to clear my head, get in, not think about everything else that's going on side. When I'm in the gym for that hour and a half, I know that I'm just focusing on that thing, doing what I enjoy, and that also helps me to clear my head. So those are things that I've started to implement. They've definitely already started to make an impact. If you have things that you use, like different habits or different tools, please drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what they are. Other than that, thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.